Durham County Sheriff's Office. Where's your emergency? Okay, we'll get deputies on the way. Order! Move!
How y'all doing this morning? Come on through.
I'm Durham County Sheriff Clarence Burkhead, and we want you to join our team. Honor, duty, service. If you have what it takes, our recruiting starts now.
Hello? Yeah, I just parked the car. I'm on my way up. Let me know I'm here. Sorry, it's been a really hectic morning, but I'm here. I am so sorry. I can't believe I forgot to drop you off. Your mom usually takes you to daycare. Let's make sure you're all right.
The writ of possession is at the very end. All of this starts with one, in the case of rent not being paid, the rent isn't paid. There's some communications going between the landlord and the tenant about, hey, where's my rent? And then you get this notice to vacate. And then once you don't vacate, the landlord can go and file a summary ejectment proceeding, which is another way of saying filing a court case against you saying you owe me this money, you have not paid your rent, I want you evicted out of my property. And usually that's going to be in small claims court before a magistrate.
Well, your rent notice is basically a magistrate summons with a complaint and summary ejectment attached to it. That comes from the clerk's office to the sheriff's office, and what that is basically the notification for the hearing for the landlord to start the procedure to get their property back. We'll receive those from the clerk's office. The deputies will take those and they will attempt to make contact with the defendant or defendants that's listed on the magistrate summons. If we can't make contact, we will post, as statute allows, for the court date. And once that is returned, they have been served for their court date. Once we've served it, they'll have to call the court if they don't understand something about it. That would fall more under calling the clerk's office to find out if there's any discrepancy about the court date or if there's any problem that they may have with the court date. They would need to contact the clerk's office because we're actually just serving notice of the court date.
That's the first part where we're involved. Only thing we're doing is serving the paperwork just like any other lawsuit. Then you go before the magistrate, the landlord presents evidence, you can present evidence, or the renter can present evidence, a decision is entered. You have a right to appeal that decision to the district court. If you appeal it, there's some procedures involved with that. And then if you lose that appeal, or if you don't appeal it or contest it, what you're going to have is a judgment being entered against you. And that's when the writ of possession comes involved.
Once the sheriff's office receives the writ of possession for real property, the first thing that's done is a notification will be sent out of the date of the eviction to the defendant or the defendants. Second thing we do is we're going to notify the plaintiff of the date and time that we'll be out there to facilitate the padlock. Once the deputy arrives on scene, the property will be taken from the defendant, turned over to the plaintiff. The defendant will be served the paperwork if they're there, but we're there to take custody of the property from the defendant and turn it back over to the plaintiff as the court has ordered.
Really, the legal process is the entire court case before writ of possession is requested by a landlord and delivered to the sheriff for execution. Writ of possession is basically carrying out the judgment of a court. Just like if you were sued for a motor vehicle accident or some other small claims proceeding, when the judge enters a decision, it becomes a judgment, and then you go collect on the judgment. And then once it is issued by the clerk of court, it's delivered to the sheriff for execution. The reason why the sheriff's office is involved is because when someone is moved out of their property, it's a very tense situation, and the sheriff is involved to make sure that it's a peaceful transfer of property.
As in all civil process, the sheriff's office is just enforcing the court order. The court order is that the plaintiff is to receive their property back. The deputy will go out there, the property will be taken out of the defendant's possession, placed back with the plaintiff as the court has ordered, and we're there to also make sure that that's a peaceful transition during that process.
But the law requires the sheriff to do this, and in fact, if the sheriff doesn't do it, he could be sued. So you should really take some steps right at the beginning of all of this when you first have difficulty with paying your rent. Because when it gets to the sheriff's office, it's too late. So what can you do? In several communities throughout the state of North Carolina, including Durham, there are rent assistance programs. North Carolina, along with the United Way, has developed what's called NC 211. If you pick up the phone and dial 211, you're connected to a resource hotline, and you can tell them what your problems are, whether it's paying rent, paying your mortgage, making utility payments, need of food, and they can connect you with resources in your community. Here in Durham, you have the legal clinic at North Carolina Central. You may also have law clinics over at UNC, Duke, over in Raleigh at Campbell, where you can get some free legal advice. You have Legal Aid of North Carolina, but if you go to their website, they have literature on there on what the eviction process is, what is a summary ejectment, what you should present to court. Can you get out of it? Can you pay your rent? Can you settle this? What to do if you want to get into a settlement. Here at the sheriff's office, we know about the process, but we can't give you legal advice. State government is well aware of the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on individuals, and so there's some relief efforts being made. And so really what I'm saying is that the solution to a lot of this is before you get to the writ of possession. There are community organizations out there that will help you with rent assistance. The General Assembly, which is our state legislature, is looking at some solutions. Our local officials may be looking at some solutions. Churches may be available. So when you get into that situation of not being able to pay your rent, making utility payments, not being able to put food on your table, oftentimes we panic, we become concerned, And that is the moment where you don't close yourself in. That's when you need to go ahead and ask for the help that may be out there. Because if you act quickly and at the beginning of the process, you won't get into the court system and you wind up staying in your home. Because by the time it gets to the sheriff's office with the writ of possession, there's not much, if anything, that can be done, and our hands are tied.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for help with food, healthcare, and other resources.
211, how can I help you?
Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211, get connected, get help.
I decided to take my shot to protect myself, my family, my community.
I feel comfortable being here right now is because I'm fully vaccinated. There's nothing else like this.
The vaccine is safe. I've had both of my vaccinations.
I don't think there's a sane reason for folks not getting the shot.
Let's go ahead and take the shot, and we can do it together.
You have a spot.
Take your shot.
You have a spot.
Take your shot.
Everyone from teens to seniors can get a COVID-19 vaccine. Visit myspot.nc.gov.
Kids will be kids, which just goes to say kids will be curious. They get into everything. If there's a loaded firearm in the house, they could get their hands on that too. Keeping firearms locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition in a place inaccessible to kids can help keep your loved ones safe from family fire. Safe gun storage saves lives.
Hey guys, it's us,
MelinKota,
and we're here with your pet information for the month. Dakota, why don't you tell people, they're always asking us what happens when we pick an animal up in the field. Tell them what we do from our officer's take as soon as we encounter the animal in the field.
So once we get into the field, if we're able to catch the animal that's at large, we will first scan it for a microchip. If it does have a microchip, then we try to make contact with the owner right then and there and take it home. However, if the owner isn't home, if the information hasn't been updated, or if the dog does not have a microchip, now Melinda's going to tell you what we do after that.
So we transport the animals to the Durham County Animal Shelter, APS of Durham, located at 2117 East Club Boulevard. We keep them there for 5 working days. Now, of course, if there is microchip information, the shelter will continue to try to make owner contact. And if there is not, then the shelter will continue to take care of the animal, and that gives the owner 5 working days to come to the shelter and locate their lost pet. If the animal is not reclaimed by the end of the 5 days, then the animal becomes property of the Durham County Animal Shelter, and they begin the process for evaluation for adoption. So this little guy, for example, Milo, is currently available for adoption. Now, if you're interested in a dog that is for adoption, what you should know is due to the COVID protocols, they're updating now starting this Monday. They are going to be allowing up to 10 people into the animal shelter at a time. If you've lost your pet, you can come to the shelter and look for your pet at that time. If you're just interested in adoption, you can walk through, locate an animal you're interested in adopting, and then fill out an application on the spot. These animals are then vetted. They're given behavioral assessments to determine if they will be compatible with your home, and then you'll start their process through there. Now, if you're not quite interested in committing to a full-out adoption, there's always the foster option. You can go to APS's website at apsofdurham.org and fill out an application for foster, and then they will contact you and tell you what you'll need to do to foster, and then they will match you up with an animal that you can foster until we can find a more permanent home. Now, we love the failed fosters. Those are the people that sign up to foster and then they fall in love and end up adopting. So if you're interested in adoption, make sure you come to the shelters. They will be open their regular hours. Again, only 10 people will be allowed in at a time, and please bring a mask when you come. So now, hopefully that answers your questions. What happens when we pick up animals? Of course, our first option, try to reunite them with the owner, and then second option, try to rehome them with a new owner if we can't get them placed back to their original owners and they don't come for them.
Would it surprise you to learn that millions of computers in the US are infected with malware? That's a lot of computers. So, what's malware and why should you care? Malware, short for malicious software, includes viruses and spyware that get installed on your computer or mobile device without you knowing it. Criminals use malware to steal personal information and commit fraud. For example, they may use malware to steal the login information for your online accounts, or to hijack your computer and use it to send spam. An infected computer can lead to serious problems like identity theft. The good news? There's a lot you can do to protect yourself and your computer. One of the most important steps you can take: install security software from a reliable company and set it to update automatically. The bad guys constantly develop new ways to attack your computer, so your software must be up to date to work. Set your operating system and your web browser to update automatically too. If you're not sure how, use the help function and search for automatic updates. Don't buy security software in response to unexpected calls or messages, especially if they say they scanned your computer and found malware. Scammers send messages like these to trick you into buying worthless software, or worse, downloading malware. What else can you do? Use a pop-up blocker, and don't click on links and pop-ups. Don't click on links or open attachments in emails, unless you know what they are, even if the emails seem to be from friends or family. Download software only from websites you know and trust. Free stuff may sound appealing, but free downloads can hide malware. Make sure your web browser's security setting is high enough to detect unauthorized downloads. For example, use at least the medium security setting. Even if you take precautions, malware can find its way onto your computer. So be on the lookout for these signs. Your computer runs slowly, drains its battery quickly, displays unexpected errors or crashes. It won't shut down or restart. It serves a lot of pop-ups, takes you to web pages you didn't visit, changes your homepage, or creates new icons or toolbars without your permission. If you suspect malware, stop doing things that require passwords or personal info, such as online shopping or banking. Use a different computer, maybe one at work or at your local library, to change your passwords. Update your security software and run a system scan. Delete files it flags as malware. If you can't fix the problem on your own, get help from a professional. Your computer manufacturer or internet service provider may offer free tech support. If not, contact a company or retail store that provides tech support. Keep in mind, the most important thing you can do to prevent malware is to keep your computer software up to date. And remember, it's easy to find trusted information about computer security. Just visit onguardonline.gov, the federal government site, to help you stay safe, secure, and responsible online.
Telemarketing fraud is a crime that affects millions of Americans every year. Telemarketing scammers will say anything to commit fraud, even if you're the one initiating the phone call.
Hi, I see you're responding to our ad for a guaranteed line of credit. We believe that everyone deserves a loan. However, we do charge a small processing fee in order to get your application in the system. All I need is your bank's routing numbers. They're at the bottom of a check.
I was thinking of starting a business, but I didn't have the startup cash. My credit isn't so hot, so I thought this would be a great way to get the money I needed. I didn't realize it was a scam. Now I know better. Hello?
Mr. Johnson, we've got a credit card for you guaranteed.
Look, I'm not interested. Don't call me again, or I'll report you to the FTC.
Telemarketing scams usually start with a phone call, but they can also start with an online ad or a piece of mail.
I clicked through an ad on the internet and filled out a form. It seemed legitimate. They called a few hours later and said people like me were making lots of money with just a small investment. They said it was easy to get started and their business experts were just a phone call away. I didn't know they were a fraud. I still get calls for bogus business opportunities. I must be on some sort of list. But now I know better.
I understand you want to make money from home.
I'm not interested. Goodbye.
The Federal Trade Commission and your state attorney general are working hard to stop telemarketing fraud. You can help. Recognize, report, register. First, learn to recognize the signs of telemarketing fraud, like callers who ask for money first, or who want to know your bank account, credit card, or social security number. Scammers may even have your billing information before they call you. Often, they're trying to get you to say okay so they can claim you approved a charge. Second, if you have been scammed, or you think someone is trying to scam you, report it to the Federal Trade Commission. It's as easy as going to ftc.gov and clicking on the link on the right. It's more helpful to the FTC if you can give the name or phone number of the company that called you and the date they called. Third, join the millions of Americans who have registered their phone numbers on the National Do Not Call Registry. It's easy. You can register online at donotcall.gov. Be sure to complete the process by clicking the link in the confirmation email you receive. You can also call toll-free 1-888-382-1222 from the number you wish to register. And remember, although telemarketing scammers may seem friendly, they're anything but. They're trying to worm their way into your wallet. You can stop them by keeping your information to yourself, no matter how tempting the offer. Let's say goodbye to fraudulent telemarketers. Visit ftc.gov/phone fraud to learn more about how to recognize and report telemarketing fraud.
Let's say someone calls and says he's from the IRS. He says you owe taxes and need to pay right away by getting a gift card at the store. Should you do it? No, it's a scam. Government agencies will never make you pay with a gift card. Now let's say the caller claims to be from a tech support company. He says he needs to fix a problem with your computer after you pay him with a gift card. Should you? No, that's a scam too. Real tech support companies don't work like that or make you pay with a gift card. What if you get a call from someone who says she's a relative or friend and needs money right now? She begs you to go buy her a gift card. Should you do it? No, that's also a scam. Gift cards wouldn't help real family members or friends in a real emergency. Gift cards are for gifts, not for payments. Anyone who tells you to pay with a gift card is a scammer. And once you've shared the gift card number and PIN, your money is probably gone. So what do? If you have paid with a gift card, contact the company that issued the card right away, and then tell the FTC. Reporting to the company and the FTC helps us fight these scams. Go to ftc.gov/giftcards to learn more about how to protect yourself and others.
Hi, Toby Keith here. Like most of us, I love driving, but too many people die every year on America's roads. So always buckle up, slow down, drive sober, stay focused on driving.
Every day, officers enforce traffic laws to keep our families safe on the road. So drive smart.
And do your part to save lives.
A message from the National Sheriff's Association.
So we're out here today and we're doing a speed enforcement operation. This is the Durham Sheriff's Office along with the Durham City Police Department. We're out here running a LiDAR operation, so we have officers set up down the road with a LiDAR. And what it is a laser device so they can measure the speed on cars coming up. So this is a 45-mile-an-hour zone we're in today, so they're measuring the speed on these cars coming up and calling them out to the officers up here staged, and then we're stopping these vehicles. We're doing this in an effort to slow the traffic down out here. The city's had a lot of reports of some crashes and things of that nature out here on this stretch of road, so we come out here to slow traffic down and hopefully to make our roadways a little safer for people to travel on.
We're going to be right behind a sedan in the number 2 lane, black Acura SUV, number 1 lane, 67 miles per hour at 1,036 feet.
Most of the time our enforcement areas that we choose are areas that have high amount of crashes in them, or an area where we've received a lot of complaints from citizens. You know, we're not able to be everywhere all at the same time, but people see things and they tell us, and so we'll go to those areas to try to do some traffic enforcement and slow cars down. And then we also look at things as like vehicle fatalities, and we try to, and if an area has a spike in vehicle fatalities, we'll come to that area to try to slow the traffic down and, like I said, just try to make it safer for everybody to travel around. So the unit I'm in, one of our primary functions is traffic enforcement, and so we try to come out at least and do something every day. It might not be an operation as big as we're doing right now. It might only be 2 or 3 officers out on a side street somewhere, but we try to come out every day. Not just us doing it, we've also got our patrol division goes out, and you know, those guys are answering calls for service and stuff like that. But in the time when they don't have a lot of calls going on, you're liable to see one of them on the side of the road running radar, trying to slow traffic down as well.
Sedan in the number 2 lane. Should be past you right about now. The lead car, number 2 lane. 64 miles an hour and 690. 64 miles an hour and 690.
So in North Carolina, you can technically be stopped for going just 1 mile over the speed limit because it's an absolute speed state. However, most of the time when we're out here running these operations, we're targeting cars that are going a substantial amount over the speed limit. We're not getting the people that are going 5 or 6 miles an hour over the speed limit. It's typically people who are substantially exceeding that speed limit, which is going to make it more dangerous for the people pulling in and out of parking lots and maybe pedestrians crossing the road and stuff like that. When you speed, your stopping distances are greatly increased. And so the speed limit on this road, for instance, is designed for this road. So it depends on the number of parking lots and the amount of traffic and the amount of pedestrians. They have engineers who are a lot smarter than me who will come out and decide that this road needs to be a 45-mile-an-hour zone. So if you travel 45 miles an hour, under normal circumstances, you should be able to stop in time to avoid a collision. If you're traveling 65 miles an hour on a 45-mile-an-hour road, then you've greatly increased the amount of time that it needs to stop, and you're increasing the amount of chances for you to get into a collision. You want to go ahead and try to make some indication to us that you see us and that you're going to slow down. If you're in a safe place to pull over, you want to go ahead and pull over right there. If you're not in a place where you feel safe pulling over, you know, throw your hazard lights on, put your turn signal on, let us know that you see us, and then proceed to the closest, safest area for you to pull over, whether that be a parking lot or the next side street. And as we approach the car, you know, just be courteous and polite with us, and we're going to try to be courteous and polite with you, and we're going to try to make the stop go as smooth as we can for you while we're dealing with the speed that you or whatever we stopped you for. So if we go to an area where we've had a lot of complaints, a lot of times the people who called to complain about there being a lot of speeding in that area will actually call back, or they'll stop. We've had people stop and give us even like cookies on the side of the road saying, hey, thanks for coming to our neighborhood. And people do show appreciation for the fact that we're coming and doing some speed enforcement in the areas where it's needed.
Each year, there are more than a dozen significant tropical and winter storms that threaten the East Coast. So chances are there will be more hurricanes and blizzards near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.